Hi guys, so today we are at Pokuase Heights in Accra and I'm with Kofi Anku, who is many things, but we are going to get to know him better in this video and then understand his motivation for the buildings that he's put up over here, which are really beautiful. We're also going to do a walkthrough of some of the properties and then look at the next phase of the Pokuase Heights project. Kofi, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much, Frank. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. All right, so we want to know, who is Kofi Anku? How did you, develop interest in the building sector?
Well, I've actually been in the construction real estate industry in Ghana for about 20 years.
Okay.
So it's something that it's a passion.
Okay.
It's something it's a family business. My father started investing in land in and around Accra in the mid-90s.
Wow.
So it's been incredible just to see the growth of the city, of the country, to be part of that story, and to see the quality improve and the offerings. And it's been quite a journey.
All right. So were you like always living in Ghana, or you moved? I know you spent quite a while outside Ghana, right? So at what point did you come to Ghana, and then how did you decide, okay, this is what I really want to do? Why didn't you go into a specific market, etc.? I'm sure you recognized there was a need, right? And maybe a problem that you want to solve. So can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So I didn't spend much time here as a child. I came from my aunt's wedding in '87 for the first time. I was here for about 3 weeks. And it just made such an impression on me as a kid to have this whole side of the family that I was reconnecting with. So that motif, that story has always been motivating. Then I had the opportunity to spend a summer with my grandmother when I was a high school student, which was an amazing experience. And then through university, when I had the opportunity to come to Ghana more regularly. So just the idea of being part of such a young country, a vibrant society, being able to contribute. And my educational background, I did a degree in African American studies.
Wow.
So seeing the challenges for the last 400 years of people in the diaspora in the wealthiest country in the world, and then to have a whole continent where we've fought for liberation and have the resources and the population size, always been really exciting.
Interesting. Wow. So how did you first acquire land in Ghana to start your building project? For example, for Pokuase Heights, why did you decide on Pokuase? I don't think it was like family lands or something. You did your research, you saw the area or something, and you decided this is a nice place you want to build properties at? No,
actually, my family has always been, although my father's a retired oncologist, our family's always been involved in real estate. My mother is a real estate investor. My father actually bought 200 acres in Pokuase in the 90s. So I mean, I remember coming out here as a kid or a young person and hunting when it was just grasslands.
Wow.
So we've seen the city grow in this direction. We've seen that there was an issue at one point with traffic, and then
the interchange was constructed.
It's changed the environment here significantly.
Fantastic. How long has this property been here at Pokuase Heights? How long did it take you to start? How long did it take you to complete? When did you start?
So we actually started with a different project just down the road. And all of these things, there's sometimes I joke, this for us, real estate has been a 20-year overnight success, right? That you iterate, you try something, and you can build a house. So actually I wrote a paper with a U.S. organization, and this was like maybe 17 years ago. And it was, at the time, it was the most exhaustive study on affordable housing. So looking at different building materials, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, what's holding the industry back. So it's always been an issue that we've been trying to find a solution for. And in my experience in Ghana, you just have to start something and you learn as it develops. So we started, I think originally we kind of missed the market. The plan was to centralize the parking. So with affordable housing, it's about trade-offs. Right? Like what trade-offs are people willing to make? So is it a smaller plot, right, but with a generous floor plan? Or are you looking at,
the balance of...
with confidence in the Ghanaian market, you need to be 25,000 USD, maybe 30, right? I have to really do it successfully. But that's, I think I call this a moderately priced unit. And even here, what we found is when we started at the $45,000 price point, that the bulk of our buyers were still diasporians, right? That there are plenty of people in Ghana with 50 grand, but they often want a different type of house.
True. And I feel for Ghana, at least the middle income person, right, is not going to be able to get like a $45,000 sitting in his account.
Sure.
Right, at any given time. So it means that they rather prefer to build bit by bit.
That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. So in looking to help solve the issue of, housing, affordable housing, and the lack of it thereof, right? Do you consider like payment plans when people want to purchase, or they need to do like a one-time payment?
We've introduced a payment plan that goes as long as 2 years.
Okay.
And then we also work with banks that provide mortgages that can go 15 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But if you're middle class and you're on a CD salary, it's hard to get those mortgages. And oftentimes, like you said, people are more comfortable with incremental housing approach, where they're building, they don't owe anybody, right? So they don't have that debt overhang. They're just, when they have a windfall, they build. Yeah. What that does is secures the land. It's a hedge against inflation. So maybe you get to rental level. Well, you finish with with the cement that you're buying. So you can focus on the roof.
Okay.
But like the inflation and the cement is no longer your problem because you've built the gray structure.
Okay.
Right, so that's something that we try and look at what's happening in the market and then try and conform to the strategies that Ghanaians are already employing. So we did introduce the payment plan, but the other thing we did was introduce the concept of a shell home.
Okay.
Right,
Please explain.
so it looks exactly like this house from the outside, but on the inside it's raw.
Oh.
Right, because no Ghanaian is intimidated by laying a few tiles.
Sure.
Right, they're happy to do that.
Okay.
Right, what they don't want is to extend themselves financially in ways that are uncomfortable. So we say, okay, look, instead of paying $55,000 for the house, pay $42,000 for the house.
Okay.
Right, we're giving you keys. It's fully, the enclave is secured. All of the civil works have been done. You don't have issues with erosion or stormwater, that sort of thing. But as and when you have funds available,
you can finish it to your taste.
Yeah, in your own time, right? Which for a lot of diasporians, they're buying the house to get in on the property ladder.
Yeah.
They saw what went down Spintex 20 years ago. They saw East Legon, and everybody has a story. Like, oh, my uncle offered me to buy this plot. He said, oh, I'm buying a few plots. I could get a plot, next to me at East Legon. It's 5,000 CDs. I didn't buy it. All right. So a lot of folks in the diaspora, they want to make sure that they're not being priced out of the market.
Okay.
At the same time, they don't want to be overextended.
Sure. Right. So now let's move, because I feel your target market mainly or mostly is diaspora, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. We've moved from the African market to the diaspora. How has the reception been?
Been good.
Okay.
Yeah, we've gotten really good reception from the diaspora. Also from the depth and breadth of the diaspora. It's not just Ghanaians abroad, but also other Africans that are outside of the continent.
Oh, interesting.
And also the historical diaspora. So African Americans, Caribbeans who are interested in the product and who are buying.
Wow.
So that's interesting. I think even just moving from the year of return, I think that message, there was an initial interest, and now the interest is crystallizing into people saying, okay, how do I make a life for myself? Let's start by getting a beachhead, finding some property that we can own. Okay. And from there, we can look at building our businesses or developing different professional relationships.
Okay, so someone wanted to know, because I also put it out that I'm coming to have an interview, and what questions do people want to know? And somebody said, how did you get funding for this project? Mm-hmm. Is it self-funded, or you went for loans or something?
That's a great question. I've found that financing real estate in Ghana has been exceedingly difficult.
Okay, why?
That the banks aren't interested.
Okay.
Somebody even with my track record and financial capabilities, we have not found, I think part of it is the time that you had a meltdown in the financial sector, you've got the T-bills that crashed and whatnot. Even, banks that we've worked with for years and have put millions of dollars through, their appetite, and it's
risk appetite is pretty low.
Well, it's not even you wonder what they're doing, because banks, that's how they make their money, is by lending money to credible entrepreneurs and businesses. Yeah. So we're saying, look, we've got signed contracts, we've got collateral, right? We've got a track record, and so if they're not lending to us, who are they lending to?
Working as someone who worked in retail banking, right? I can understand from their perspective, right? Because in the past, a lot of real estate companies took loans. And you know, construction or real estate is like a long-term project. And it takes quite a while to make a sale, right? So the banks usually want to make sure that they are guaranteed that you can pay back, right? So from past experience, I think that has been the factor that has, informed their decisions. I don't agree. I know nowadays there are a lot of banks that are also looking at financing projects like these. In fact, we've received some emails from some banks. So it's changing, but in the past it was very difficult. Yeah. So you've done well. So it means you've kind of had to find a way to do your financing yourself.
We've mostly self-financed, and then we also look at partnerships.
Okay.
So when we've got aligned institutions and groups and companies, but who are pretty much project developers, or my current partner here at Pokuase Heights, they come from construction, engineering, and procurement background. So there's a lot of alignment. So for us as developers, our strength has been having the land, right? Understanding the market, sales, and legal.
Okay.
So with this partnership, we've both put cash on the barrelhead, and then have just seen what we could do. So we started with the first 12 houses, we did another 12, and now we're doing another phase of 24 units.
Okay. But you have capacity to expand after these 24 units, assuming you complete and you sell out?
Absolutely. We've already started plans on a number of other projects, different price points.
Okay.
I like this typology. I think there's a certain market that this speaks to.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's a moderate price point for people who are interested. It's gratifying. I'm not actually that interested in providing houses at the luxury market.
Understood.
Wealthy people, they'll find ways to solve their problems. But I think, families that are middle-class families who are trying to figure things out, oftentimes their options are limited.
Yeah.
And, they're making trade-off where they're not that excited about the properties that they can afford.
Sure.
So it's really nice to be able to present a product where the lines are straight. Yeah. Right. It's not it's not over the top in terms of luxury, but it's functional. And this is a house I'd be more than happy to wake up in. It's airy. It's open. So even if you don't have a huge architectural background, the house feels, you might not know why, but the house feels comfortable. Yeah. So that's important to us.
Okay. So on that note, we would want you to take us, on a tour of this particular property. Let us know how much it costs and then what goes into the property.
Frank, this is the 2-bedroom expandable unit. What we try and do is make as much of the elements in the house on site as possible.
Okay.
So you've got the precast wall that we use to secure the whole compound and to divide the living spaces.
Okay.
And then we're using over here, for the fabric of the building, a wall panel that's insulated.
Okay.
So you'll notice that when you're in the home, it's actually quite cooler than your traditional.
Energy efficient.
Energy efficient, and that's with a 360 insulation. So you also have insulation in the roof. Okay. Which it boggles the mind why people don't use more insulation in homes here, because it's not that expensive. But I think if customers aren't demanding it, a lot of developers don't bother to put it in.
Yeah, and I feel also that a lot of people are not aware of the possibilities.
Yeah. Right.
So they just came to meet a certain style of construction and everything. So that's all that they know. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So
it's really cool in here as opposed to like when you step outside. So that reduces your need to get additional air conditioners and everything, right?
Yeah, it's a fairly hot day, but it's comfortable here with the fan on. So in terms of the insulation, we're using a fiberglass wool type of formula, just right behind the ceiling. Okay. And then also for the roofing sheets here, we're using a UPVC sheet, which radiates far less heat than the metal roofs that typically you see in Ghana. Okay. So it's we're actually bringing them in, but it's I think it's a much better option than the metal roof.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the living space. You've got the dining and the living area, and then from here.
It's quite spacious as well. For when you're outside, you think the rooms would be very small, right? But the living space is quite spacious. The living area is even bigger than mine that I have.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the trade-off conversation that we're having. Is we decided that it would be better because you could just scale the house down. You know, you can make the house tiny, and then it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. But what we decided to do was to be very generous with the living space.
Okay.
And the actual home.
Okay.
And then just reduce the footprint of the plot.
Yeah.
So without making it feel cramped. So I think one of the things by not having an extremely high wall outside, when you're outside, because you can see all the way to the next house, you feel like it's fairly spacious.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, you know, these trade-offs and design strategies. This is the second bedroom. So you've got 2 windows here, which allows for some cross ventilation. The windows are also produced locally.
Wow.
The wardrobes, these actually we got from ash foam.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and
the finishing is very good. Like, this is a really good finishing.
Yeah, I actually didn't even realize they were in the furniture business. But they did all of our cabinet work, and even the furniture. So the mattresses, obviously ash foam, but also the beds.
Wow.
We even got the linen.
The design and everything. Like, it's quality work from ash foam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were into wardrobes now and stuff.
No, they've been at it for a while. The furniture, they make all the sofas that you see, the tables.
Oh, okay.
All of that comes from ash foam, which is, I didn't even realize it was short for Ashanti foam.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
and the door?
The doors we brought in ourselves. We found that we could get better prices on the international market.
You spoke about the tile.
Yeah, the tiles are locally made. There's a huge tile factory that make beautiful ceramic tiles in Takoradi. So that's what we use for all the tile work. But the concrete tiles and the patio we produce them ourselves.
Understood.
Right, so you've got a decent size ensuite bathroom.
Yeah.
And then we bring in the sanitary ware ourselves to help reduce the costs. Yeah.
Wow, check this out. Like,
yeah.
Really, really dope.
It's a little, space-saving approach. Now this can be converted into a corridor.
Okay.
Right. So what we can do is end up with a door here.
Okay.
And that corridor will then lead to
an expanded room. Or
something.
So
then you add the master bedroom on that. So then these 2 bedrooms will share this bathroom.
Okay.
And then you'd have a master bedroom that we extend onto the back of the house. So we sell the 3-bedroom units completed.
Okay.
But we also sell the 2-bedroom units that can be expanded.
So this 2-bedroom property we are currently touring goes for
55K USD.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, thanks.
And it comes with the finishing? Or?
No, it comes finished, but the furniture is extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we've got a kitchen store.
Okay.
I tried to get away with building houses without the kitchen store, and the clients were not interested in. This is a must for a good.
Especially the ladies, they have so many things they want to put over there. So.
Absolutely, right. So you've got to be responsive. So we've got the store.
Okay.
And then we've got the fully fitted kitchen.
So tell us a bit about what we are seeing here.
So again, this all came from ash foam.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they worked with us. We gave them the plan, design. Everything was made. Luckily, they came, did all the installation. So very happy with the results.
The counter and everything.
Counters, yeah, everything.
Wow, that's free advertising for ash foam.
Yeah, no. I mean, we've got a lot of Ghanaian suppliers, and when we see folks that are doing excellent work.
Wow.
That's competitive with the imports, we do what we can to support. Okay. So our window manufacturer is local. He's doing a great job because everything with the windows bespoke. And then also for when we get to the phase 3, you'll actually be able to see. We moved away from using timber for the timber members for the roof, and we use a steel structure for the roof. Okay. And a company called Domod.
Yeah, Domod.
We work with. And we've been able to, our engineering teams work with their organization to optimize the roof structure so that you get the strength that you're looking for, but reducing the cost.
Okay.
So here we've got the little outdoor area in the back, and you've got your own, At Imensa Park, we had a different typology. We had more of like a townhouse.
Okay.
So the mid-terraces, you couldn't access your backyard.
Right.
So even if you had a guy that was coming to cut the grass, they'd have to traipse through your living space with the clippings, which is kind of a problem.
Sure.
So we thought, it's important
to leave a space.
Yeah, just go with semi-detached. Not a huge amount of space between the two units, but enough for you to walk around. And then this could be closed off if you wanted to put a gate here so the kids could play. There's
it's a really good minimal, design, and I think it works for the purpose. Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
And I like the finishing. So for the ceilings, you use TNG.
TNG for the exterior.
Okay.
And then we use a plasterboard for the interior. I think it just gives a nicer finish.
And then Graffiato paints.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use Graffiato for phase 3 for all of the exteriors. We also produce this window banding.
Okay.
So we just cast the molds here on site, screw them onto the wall of the house, and then paint over it, plaster and paint it.
Okay.
So if there's anything that we can do, even from the civil work perspective, we produce all of our own curbs.
Okay.
We produce the V drains for the. So we've got the V drains here that we produce locally on site, which helps us keep our arms around costs.
Wow.
Right,
so I have a question, right? Because I'm seeing that the quality of the construction, the finishing, is top notch, right? And this is not to praise you or anything, but that's what I'm seeing. If someone wants you to build a property for them, because maybe their land is not here, right? And they are watching this video and they like what they are seeing. Is this something that you are interested in doing, or you don't have the capacity to do that right now? Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because it's the same headache to build one house in Doenia.
Yeah.
To build 12 houses, as a community or as an enclave.
Okay.
Right? Because you're having to manage these various processes. If you've got a quality foreman to drive all the way out to that site, it's just not, the economics don't work.
Okay.
So we've been trying to figure out how we could be more responsive to that, because I get that question all the time.
Okay.
And even the story behind the quality of this output. So my partner, Stefan, he was the construction director for NMSI, which they had a massive contract, a $150 million contract to build district hospitals.
Okay.
Right. So there's such a thing as a Messi and a Michael Jordan of tiling. Right. They just don't happen to get paid as well, and they're not famous.
True.
But there's somebody who can tile at a high level of quality. Right. So having executed that contract, he was able to find rock star subcontractors, rock star professionals in the building industry that we were able to pull into our organization.
Okay.
And it's really kind of engineering led. Okay. So we give them wide berth and allow them to, and our professionals, they respond to that kind of respect. Being able to work at a space where their ideas are valued and that decisions are made rationally. Okay. As a lot of times in this part of the world, the decisions are kind of non-Cartesian, right? There may be some third force that's having to, from who the donor country happens to be. And they say, well, we need X percentage of content. Well, maybe that's not best for the project.
True.
But they're giving you the money, so that's what you have to do. Right? Whereas here, we don't have any of those constraints. Right? It's what does the client want, and what's the best way to achieve that goal. Okay. And even as a business owner, I stay out of the way, right? But it's the engineers who have the last say in terms of how we do things. Okay. What we do is we set strategic targets. Say, look, how do we hit this price point in a way that's comfortable for our buyers?
True.
Right. So just kind of commenting on the construction and the approach, we've put in these large, instead of having each house with its own water supply, we've just installed a large water supply system. Okay. And
it distributes water
to the whole enclave.
Okay. All right, so now where are we?
So Frank, we're at phase 3, and we're in 2 of the model units that we've built with a company called Ecostone.
Ecostone.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're always striving for operational excellence, and we're always experimenting with different technologies, different approaches.
Okay.
So with this house, we moved away from the insulated panels that we were using,
Okay.
and we tried a different technique, which it's a plastic formwork. So we use formwork from a company called Perry.
Okay.
And Ecostone also has this arrangement where they lend out aerating concrete machines. So you're mixing air into your concrete mix, which makes it less dense.
Wow.
Right, so you've got a foaming agent in the concrete, and that helps for 2 things. It reduces the amount of cement that you use in your mix,
Okay.
and it also, having a less dense concrete allows for it to be less of a heat sink.
Okay.
So you're providing a bit of insulation for the unit.
Wow. So this is like a good alternative building material, right? Because in your opinion?
Yeah, it is, but I think you need to be building quite a number of homes to optimize this approach. Because
take advantage of economics of scale and all that.
There are not many developers in this part of the world that are building more than 200 houses a year. So there's a handful of developers.
So it's not
for
something that the ordinary Ghanaian can say they want to do for their 3-bedroom house. Understood.
No. The benefit to this technique too is that when you build with blocks, then you have to go and plaster the blocks. Yeah. With this, you strike the formwork and you basically have a nice off-shutter finish. Yeah. So we skim this and then you paint it directly.
Okay.
This is not going to require another inch of plaster before the walls are prepared.
So this allows you to build, affordable, right? Else it will be more expensive. Considering today a bag of cement is like 110 Ghana cedis and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're building a number of units in the same spot, this is a good approach.
Okay.
So another one of the benefits is you have very straight walls, right? So even for us, we just happen to have a really good team that works with the wall panels. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're using those insulated panels, it's really difficult to get them straight.
Wow.
So then you have to use a lot of plaster to try and correct.
Align it.
And that becomes an expensive proposition.
Okay.
So with this, it's kind of idiot-proof if you know what you're doing. So Ecostone provides quite a bit of support.
Okay.
So they're a good partner if you're doing multiple units. But then you've got this nice off-shutter finish. You're not using a lot of plaster. Plus, everything is square and plumb. Right. So that's another challenge that you have. I think you were responding to the quality of the finish in phase 2. It's baked in. Okay. So you see something similar to Imesa Park. Okay. We didn't use Perry formwork. We used another company out of South America. But then you also have actually I think it was a steel form that we used for those. But it's a similar approach.
And then up on the roof as well. Mm-hmm. I see you're not using the wooden, structures. You are using. Tell us, what are we looking at?
Well, I mean, when you use timber, you've got to use antifungal treatments. Yeah. You've got to use some sort of harsh pesticides to keep the insects. Yeah. You need to use a specific type of hardwood. It needs to be dried to a specification. Okay. So we think it's probably more environmentally friendly to use steel. It's extremely strong. We've optimized the design, so we're using the optimal amount of trusses to support the weight. And again, with a UPVC roof, you're not supporting a huge amount of weight. Yeah. So there's no reason to over-engineer. I think oftentimes if people don't really understand the principles, they just throw everything at it. You've got more trusses than you need. So this has been optimized so that we can hit the price points and still get the performance we're looking for.
Wow. So how many bedrooms is this unit going to be when it's completed?
So this is a 2-bedroom unit. Okay. Right, but it can be expanded to 3 beds. So this is essentially the exact same.
The same design.
Same design you saw in the last one.
Okay. Yeah. So same price, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to tell us about the technology?
I think that's pretty much it. So, I mean, this is the same. These are 3-bedroom units over there. You can pop in and have a look.
So, what we are looking at is a 3-bedroom property.
Yep.
How much is that going to go for when completed?
So, Frank, the 3-bedroom units start at 72,000 USD.
72?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, how soon will this be completed?
Couple of months.
Yeah. Wow. So how many units overall do we have here?
So what we did was these 1, 2, 3 buildings are 3-bedroom units. So we've got 6 3-bedroom units, and all the rest are 2-bedroom.
So if somebody wants to like make a purchase, what's the process like?
Best thing to do is to get in touch with Bernard. I'll give you his WhatsApp number, and if they just get in touch with Bernard, they can arrange a visit, come and check out the property, and he'll send them the payment plans. We've got 1-year payment plan, 2-year payment plan, and a cash.
For example, for a 1-year payment plan, what's the initial deposit that a customer?
It's about 22,000 USD, and then you're paying monthly. I think one of the lowest ones is like 1,600 a month.
So fortunately, we also found somebody who came around to look at the properties that Kofi has at Pokuase Heights, right? And I want to pick his thoughts so that we see what he thinks about the property. So, hi, I'm Frank from Africa Building Hub. You are?
Kwame.
Yeah. Okay, so, what has been your impression so far? What are your thoughts?
So far, in terms of building material, in terms of the concepts that he's using, I think I'm quite impressed. It's my first time witnessing something away from the block, or should I say, concrete cement work.
Yeah.
And I like how straight and then how smooth the finishing also looks like. Most importantly was, for most houses, or I'm actually looking for places to buy, but for most places that I've been to, you'd realize there are no greens. It's always paved. So most of the time when it rains, that's why I more or less asked him the question concerning the drainage system, and then I think it's quite fantastic a development that he's made.
So for you, when you want to purchase a property, what are some of the things that you look out for?
So the first thing as I was driving towards this place was the road network.
The road network, okay.
And then access to water. I was impressed with the borehole that I saw at the phase 2.
Okay.
Yeah, then for me that sums it up. It's my water, electricity, access
the
to
road network. So
fine.
What are your thoughts of the road network coming here?
Obviously it's a new development, so I don't expect to see third roads, but looking at where I used, I think there's potential that it will be a smooth road.
Okay, and then your thoughts about the price to value ratio?
Well, looking at the way the phase 2, the finished product is, I think it's value for money.
Okay.
Yeah, and with the material that was used, I've been to places where the sun is scorching hot, but you enter and then you realize, and for me the key thing was also the solar. At least it's already been connected and then it's actually working, so definitely, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All the best in your
Thank you.
purchase and search. Cheers.